Hello Zenith women and welcome to the channel. True freedom is not in doing whatever you want, it's in having the courage to be who you truly are. Unknown. The world often celebrates love stories and power couples, but there's a quiet revolution happening, led by the Sigma female. These enigmatic, self-sufficient women defy societal expectations, thriving in their independence and proving that singlehood isn't a waiting room for something better. Did you know that studies reveal people who embrace solitude are more likely to experience higher levels of creativity and self-awareness? While some are busy swiping left and right, Sigma females are out here swiping through life's opportunities unbothered and unapologetic. But what makes them tick? Why do they choose to walk a path so many fear? Buckle up, because this isn't your typical girl power narrative. This is about embracing solitude, shattering norms, and living life on their terms. And no, they're not secretly crying into a tub of ice cream at night. They're probably too busy planning their next big move. Number 1, they create their own definition of happiness. Happiness, for Sigma females, isn't something they borrow from the world around them. It's something they create, define, and own. While society often paints a rigid picture of fulfillment tied to relationships, milestones, or external achievements, Sigma females reject this narrative entirely. They've mastered the art of living by their own rules, crafting a definition of happiness that fits their unique life, not someone else's expectations. For them, joy isn't tied to ticking off boxes like find a partner or settle down. Instead, it's about uncovering what genuinely lights them up. It could be building a passion project, exploring new corners of the world, or simply finding peace in a quiet, ordinary moment. Sigma females recognize that happiness isn't a destination, it's a series of choices, and they've chosen to focus on the things that bring them lasting satisfaction, rather than fleeting validation. What makes this so powerful is the confidence behind it. Sigma females don't need permission to feel good about their lives. They don't wait for someone else to make them feel whole, or for society to give them a pat on the back. They own their independence, knowing that fulfillment isn't found in the approval of others, but in living authentically. While others might feel lost without a partner, or pressured to conform, Sigma females thrive. They see happiness as a deeply personal journey, not a one-size-fits-all formula. They don't just exist in their solitude, they flourish in it, proving that joy doesn't have to follow the rules. It's this mindset that allows them to wake up every day excited about their life, not because it matches anyone else's standards, but because it's entirely, unapologetically theirs. Number 2, they refuse to compromise their boundaries for anyone. Sigma females don't just set boundaries, they own them, and they refuse to compromise for anyone, no matter the stakes. To them, boundaries aren't walls meant to keep people out. They're a map that defines where their self-respect begins and where others need to tread carefully. In a world where relationships often demand sacrifices, Sigma females know how to draw the line between healthy give and take and losing themselves in the process. What sets them apart is their unshakable belief that compromising the core of who they are isn't an act of love, it's self-abandonment. They won't trade their time, energy, or values for temporary companionship or superficial validation. If a connection forces them to shrink, settle, or stretch themselves too thin, they'd rather walk away. It's not about being cold or unyielding, it's about self-preservation. They understand that protecting their peace isn't selfish, it's essential. This approach often confuses those who live by societal norms, where bending over backward for a relationship is seen as a virtue. Sigma females see it differently. They believe that the right connections will respect and honor their boundaries, rather than test or trample them. And they're willing to wait for those rare relationships where mutual respect, understanding, and authenticity thrive. Being unapologetic about their limits doesn't mean they're closed off. It means they value themselves enough to demand quality over quantity. Whether it's about guarding their time, rejecting toxic dynamics, or saying no when everyone expects a yes, Sigma females make choices that align with their inner compass. It's not about being difficult. It's about being deliberate. And in a world where so many people settle, their ability to stay true to themselves is nothing short of extraordinary. Number 3, their self-worth isn't tied to their relationship status. Sigma females understand a truth that eludes many. Their value is intrinsic, not something that fluctuates based on whether they're in a relationship. While society often ties a person's worth to their romantic status, Sigma females have broken free from this outdated equation. They don't need a partner to feel complete, nor do they view singlehood as a void to be filled. Their self-worth is rooted in who they are, not who they're with. This perspective gives them a liberating sense of freedom. They don't spend time worrying about whether they're falling behind in life because they're not part of a couple. They've redefined success in terms of personal growth, meaningful connections, and living authentically rather than chasing the validation that often comes from being seen as desirable or taken. What sets Sigma females apart is their refusal to place their happiness in someone else's hands. They don't seek relationships to feel valued. They seek them, if and when they do, for genuine connection, not as a way to validate their existence. They're not afraid to walk away from situations that don't serve them because their sense of self isn't tethered to external approval. This mindset allows them to live boldly and authentically. They invest in their passions, nurture their interests, and build a life that reflects their values. Whether they're single or in a relationship, their worth remains steady because it's based on something unshakable, the knowledge that they are enough as they are. It's not arrogance, it's self-respect. And in a world where so many people measure their value by their relationships, Sigma females stand out for knowing that their worth was never up for negotiation. Number 4, they don't fear being unconventional. Sigma females are unapologetically unconventional, and they wear it like a badge of honor. They reject the well-worn paths society expects them to follow, marriage by a certain age, kids by another, or any timeline that doesn't resonate with their soul. For them, life isn't about fitting into a mold. It's about breaking it and creating something uniquely their own. What sets Sigma females apart is their ability to embrace their choices without guilt or explanation. They don't waste time justifying their decisions to those who don't understand, nor do they feel the need to conform to traditions that don't serve their happiness. If that means choosing a career over settling down, prioritizing travel over stability, or simply not participating in societal scripts, they do it without hesitation. This fearlessness in walking an unconventional path isn't just rebellious, it's intentional. Sigma females thrive because they've done the work to understand themselves and what truly matters to them. They're not rejecting norms out of defiance. They're doing it because they refuse to betray their authenticity. Of course, this makes them an enigma to many. People who cling to convention often struggle to understand how someone can be so at peace with stepping off the beaten path. But Sigma females aren't looking for approval. They're too busy living life on their terms. This unconventionality is what fuels their growth, creativity, and independence. It's what allows them to stand tall in a world that constantly tries to box them in. For Sigma females, the road less traveled isn't scary. It's exhilarating. They know that true fulfillment comes from forging their own way, even if it means walking alone. Number 5. They are attracted to depth, not convenience. For Sigma females, relationships are not about filling a void or following a script. They're about connecting on a level that shakes their very core. They're not interested in small talk, surface-level affection, or fleeting flings. They crave depth, the kind of connection that challenges their mind, ignites their spirit, and aligns with their soul. Anything less feels like noise, and Sigma females have no time for noise. This preference for depth means they're not afraid to wait. They don't feel pressured to settle down just to avoid being alone. Instead, they'd rather invest their energy into meaningful pursuits, knowing that a connection worth having is one worth waiting for. While others might prioritize convenience, dating someone because they're available or it's time to be in a relationship, Sigma females see relationships as sacred. For them, it's not about having someone. It's about finding the right one. This doesn't mean Sigma females are picky for the sake of it. They simply value authenticity and substance over appearances or convenience. They want a partner who can meet them on their level, someone who values introspection, growth, and purpose as much as they do. They thrive on intellectual and emotional depth, and they're not willing to compromise on that just to fit in or conform to societal expectations. Because of this, Sigma females often remain single longer, but they don't see it as a sacrifice. To them, mediocrity is a far greater loss than solitude. Their refusal to settle isn't rooted in arrogance, but in self-respect. They understand that the right connection can elevate their life, and until they find it, they're content to invest in themselves. For a Sigma female, depth isn't just a preference, it's a necessity, and they're willing to walk alone until they find it. Number 6. They're unapologetically self-focused. Sigma females have mastered the art of being unapologetically self-focused, and they don't shy away from it. While society often equates self-focus with selfishness, Sigma females know better. They understand that taking care of themselves isn't just a choice, it's a responsibility. By prioritizing their own needs, passions, and well-being, they position themselves to show up in the world as their best, most capable selves. This isn't about being self-absorbed, it's about self-awareness. Sigma females recognize that spreading themselves too thin, constantly giving to others, or living to meet societal expectations leads to burnout and resentment. Instead, they carve out time to nurture their mental, emotional, and physical health, knowing it's the foundation for everything else in their lives. This self-focus also means they're intentional with their energy. They don't waste it on meaningless obligations, shallow relationships, or activities that don't align with their goals. They protect their time fiercely, choosing quality over quantity in everything they do. Whether it's pursuing a career, a hobby, or simply enjoying moments of solitude, Sigma females understand that pouring into themselves allows them to pour into others when it truly matters. Critics may label them as selfish, but Sigma females don't buy into the guilt. They know that prioritizing their own growth doesn't make them unkind or unapproachable. It makes them grounded and capable of building meaningful connections when the time is right. Their self-focus isn't about neglecting others, it's about ensuring they have the capacity to contribute in ways that are genuine and impactful. By putting themselves first, Sigma females embody a truth many overlook. You can't give your best to the world if you're running on empty, and for them, that's non-negotiable. Number 7. They redefine success beyond societal standards. For Sigma females, success isn't a box to check or a script to follow. It's a deeply personal journey rooted in purpose, authenticity, and self-fulfillment. While society often equates success with marriage, children, and a stable 9-to-5, Sigma females see these benchmarks as optional, not mandatory. They don't chase the white picket fence or the fairy tale romance unless those things genuinely align with their values and dreams. What sets Sigma females apart is their ability to create their own definition of achievement. For them, success might look like pursuing a passion project, building a career they love, traveling the world, or simply living a life true to themselves. They don't measure their worth by societal standards, they measure it by their ability to grow, contribute, and live with intention. This mindset requires courage because it often means walking a path that others don't understand. Friends and family might question their choices, wondering why they're not settling down or following the traditional roadmap. But Sigma females don't live for approval. They thrive on their ability to stay true to their inner compass, even when it goes against the grain. Their version of success is also fluid. They're not fixated on static goals. Instead, they embrace the evolving nature of life. If their passions shift or their dreams expand, they're willing to adapt, knowing that true fulfillment comes from staying in tune with who they are, not clinging to outdated aspirations. By redefining success on their own terms, Sigma females embody a rare kind of freedom. They prove that a meaningful, impactful life doesn't have to look like anyone else's, and that real success is about finding joy, purpose, and authenticity in every step of the journey. Number 8. They view singlehood as an asset, not a liability. For Sigma females, singlehood isn't something to escape, it's something to embrace. While many people treat being single as a transitional phase, a space to fill until the right one comes along, Sigma females see it as a powerful opportunity. To them, it's not a waiting room for love, it's a playground for exploration, growth, and self-mastery. Singlehood offers them the freedom to fully invest in themselves without compromise. They use this time to discover who they are, what they love, and what they're capable of achieving. Whether it's mastering a new skill, traveling solo to unexplored places, or diving deep into personal growth, Sigma females make the most of every moment they have to themselves. For them, being single isn't a period of lack, it's a period of abundance, filled with opportunities to create, learn, and evolve. What makes their approach so unique is their refusal to view singlehood as a deficiency. They don't buy into societal narratives that equate being single with being incomplete. Instead, they see it as a time to build a strong foundation for their future, free from distractions or compromises that might come with a relationship. This perspective allows Sigma females to thrive in ways that others might overlook. While some may rush into relationships to avoid loneliness or to meet societal expectations, Sigma females savor their independence. They know that their worth isn't tied to their relationship status, and they use their singlehood as a time to grow into the best version of themselves. For Sigma females, being single isn't a limitation, it's an asset. It's a chance to live boldly, love themselves deeply, and prepare for whatever comes next, knowing they don't need anyone else to feel whole. Number 9, they understand the cost of emotional labor. Sigma females have an acute awareness of the emotional labor relationships demand. They understand that emotional energy is finite, and they're not willing to waste it on dynamics that drain them or fail to nourish their well-being. Unlike others who might pour endless effort into relationships without considering the cost, Sigma females are discerning about where they invest their time and emotional energy. This awareness comes from a deep understanding that emotional labor is often invisible, yet incredibly taxing. It's the mental and emotional work required to maintain harmony, manage conflict, or simply support another person through their struggles. Sigma females are highly attuned to this, and they're clear on the fact that not every relationship is worth the emotional investment. Because of this, they are selective about the people they allow into their inner circle. They seek connections that feel balanced and reciprocal, relationships that don't require them to give more than they're receiving. They are mindful of energy-draining people, whether it's a partner, a friend, or even family members, and they know when to set boundaries. Sigma females don't see this as being cold. They see it as a form of self-respect. They recognize that protecting their emotional health isn't just for their own benefit, it's also essential for maintaining the quality of their relationships. This selective nature means Sigma females don't chase after connections for the sake of filling a space. They're not interested in working on relationships that feel inherently draining. Instead, they focus on fostering meaningful connections that are emotionally nourishing, where both sides contribute to each other's growth. In this way, they preserve their energy for the relationships that truly matter, ensuring they're not overwhelmed by unnecessary emotional labor. Number 10. They understand the strength of saying no. Sigma. Females have perfected the art of saying no, and they wield it with a quiet but powerful confidence. For them, it's not just a word, it's a boundary, a shield, and an expression of self-respect. Unlike those who feel obligated to say yes to every request or demand, Sigma females understand that their time, energy, and peace of mind are valuable resources that need to be protected. Saying no is a tool they use to maintain their well-being, to ensure they're investing in the things that truly matter to them. It could mean declining a social invitation that doesn't align with their interests, rejecting a toxic relationship that doesn't support their growth, or simply opting out of a situation that feels draining. They don't feel the need to explain or justify themselves. They know that saying no is an act of self-preservation, not selfishness. What makes Sigma females so adept at this is their clarity of purpose. They know who they are, what they value, and what they're willing to accept in their lives. Because of this, they don't get bogged down by external pressures or the expectations of others. Whether it's family, friends, or potential partners, They understand that their no is a reflection of their values, not a rejection of the people themselves. This strength lies in their ability to set boundaries without guilt. While others may fear confrontation or worry about disappointing someone, Sigma females stand firm in their decisions. They know that each no is a step toward preserving their energy for what truly serves their purpose. By saying no to the things that don't align with their values, they open space for the things that do, creating a life that's intentionally fulfilling, balanced, and authentic. In a world that constantly pushes conformity, Sigma females stand as living testaments to the power of authenticity, independence, and self-awareness. They reject the conventional definitions of success, love, and happiness, choosing instead to carve out a life that is uniquely theirs. From embracing singlehood as a time for growth to wielding the power of no with confidence, they understand that living on their own terms isn't just a choice, it's a declaration of self-worth. What makes them extraordinary isn't their ability to stand alone, but their unwavering commitment to living a life that aligns with their true essence. They thrive in solitude because it is where they find their strength, their purpose, and their peace. They don't wait for the world to define their value, they create it themselves, and in doing so, they offer a bold reminder to us all. Fulfillment doesn't come from fitting into someone else's mold, but from daring to build your own. For Sigma females, life isn't about waiting for the next big thing or the perfect relationship to arrive. It's about diving deep into what truly matters, owning their space, and finding joy in the pursuit of their own dreams. Their journey is a powerful call to anyone who's ever felt pressured to conform. Don't just live for the world, live for yourself. And in that, you'll find the greatest success of all. If you've been inspired by the power, independence, and authenticity of Sigma females, don't let this journey end here. Subscribe to the channel and join a community that celebrates living life on your own terms. We'll continue to explore the paths less traveled, the unspoken truths, and the extraordinary ways we can all embrace our fullest potential. Don't miss out. Hit that subscribe button, and let's keep breaking the mold together. Your best life starts now.